Hi, Matthew here again. Today's message is entitled, Are Humans an Improvement on Apes? In the past, I have tried to appeal to atheists and Darwinians on the basis of science, logic, and an appeal to their humanity. The responses that have been unfavorable, so today's message is really a question of a philosophical nature and one that will not require any scientifically charged responses whatsoever. Many of you will remember the story of Dian Fossey, the San Francisco-born scientist who was most famous for her work on gorillas a few decades ago. Fossey's objectives were to study gorilla ecology, demography, and social organization. She found that in order to achieve this, she needed to recognize individual gorillas, which required that gorillas get used to her presence. By imitating gorilla behaviors and vocalizations, Fossey began to gain their trust, and in 1970, which is the year I was born, an adult male gorilla she named Peanuts reached out and touched her hand. Intense observations over thousands of hours enabled Fossey to gain the gorilla's trust and to bring forth new knowledge about their behavior. Stories and photographs of her work were published in National Geographic magazine and elsewhere. I'm aware that most of the current thinking in Darwinian circles is that man did not evolve from apes, but from some sort of common similar ape-like ancestor, which is very similar, if not exactly like apes in most respects. Now, to me, this distinction is irrelevant when one looks at the larger picture. The larger picture in this case is that Darwinians propose that all life began simply and then evolved into more complex and ultimately superior forms over millions of years, etc. I will not delve into the whole issue of the age of the earth or the age of life on earth, but what I would like to present to you is this question. Are humans an improvement on apes or ape-like ancestors which by all accounts were nearly indistinguishable from apes? From Dian Fossey we learned that apes have a much greater intelligence than any scientist ever could have imagined before. Apes think, they reason, they problem solve, they use computers, they have basic language skills, and they can even display compassion to some degree. This is remarkable since they are supposedly at least 1,000,000 years behind us in their development, which puts them on the same basic evolutionary path as squirrels, raccoons, possums, bears, none of which display the level of intelligence that apes do. By now you must be on the edge of your seats waiting for my point, so that you can begin telling me how stupid I am and how I should not breed and how I have no clue about anything, etc., etc. I will not attempt to argue with you or convince you that I know anything, but I'd like to know what you think. Are we an improvement on the ape? Well, we certainly are not an improvement physically. Physically, apes are much stronger and much faster and much tougher than the average human being. Apes can climb trees, can survive falls from great heights, thus proving that they are superior physically to us. So what about mentally? It would seem that humans are superior to apes mentally. We have developed many cures for diseases. We have computers, we have the internet, we are able to propel ourselves at great speeds on the ground and fly all over the world at speeds sometimes surpassing the speed of sound. So without a doubt, we are superior to apes, except for this. Why have we developed so many cures for so many diseases? Well, because in some way or another we have caused those diseases. Asthma, emphysema, COPD, cancer, stress-related heart disease, ADD, and Alzheimer's are but a few diseases that we have either caused directly or inadvertently by our misuse of our environment and mad rush to advance science and civilization. As the old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention. So does this prove our superiority to the apes? Perhaps in practical ways, yes, it does, but I question whether it shows that we are truly superior to them. What about socially? Are we an improvement over the apes in our treatment of each other and our world and our environment? Well, let's look at some of the things that humans have contributed to the world as a result of our quote-unquote superior and highly evolved mental capacity. We have brought war, genocide, racism, hatred, bigotry, nuclear bombs, unwanted pregnancy, abortion, infanticide, man's inhumanity to man, pollution, disease, premeditated murder, drugs, prostitution, and slavery, to name a few. In these things have we proven ourselves as an improvement over the apes? Humans live in a prefab, virtual reality, fast food world where children are hungry in one area of a city while some people on the other side of the same city live in absolute luxury, rarely caring or even knowing about people who struggle to eat and to find shelter just a few miles away. We barricade ourselves behind bars and security systems, hoping that nobody will break in and steal what is ours or kill our family. With all of our advances in intellectual achievements, we seem to be lost in a confusion of fear, stress, and amoral dogma which only seems to show us that we are useless, worthless beings. Is this an improvement on the ape? Apes have none of the aforementioned problems or conditions unless they are encroached upon by man. Apes have very ordered societies, very little illness, no KKK, no Nazis, no Black Panthers, no bigotry, no genocide, and usually when they war, it's only over which alpha male is to get to be the leader. When they war, unlike in human society, is usually between the leaders and not the masses, who in our society get crushed in the power struggles of greedy men who aren't willing to die for their own supposed beliefs. So to recap, humans have greater intellect, lesser physical prowess, inferior society, and many problems which apes, who are supposedly behind us on the evolutionary scale, don't have. Are we better off than them? Are they evolving into a better state, or are we de-evolving into something far worse than we are now? It seems that the more advanced we become, the lesser we are. Might we now begin to turn away from science for our answers and turn to the only thing that history shows can even hope to reform us? Might we now perhaps turn to God and ask why we seem to be inferior to beings that we should have surpassed long ago in every conceivable way? I say yes, we should turn to something that answers the big questions. Where did I come from? What's my purpose? Why does it seem that I have all this knowledge and all these abilities, yet I'm no happier for it? Think about it, people, and then begin to look at the only one who can help, the only one who has the answers, the one who created you. Thank you, and have a good day.